What is up, guys? Burpee Kackis here. I'm gonna have to edit so many of those out. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we're going to be talking about a bunch of the weapons currently available in Destiny 2 that are likely getting a bunch better with Season of Dawn due to the brand new seasonal artifact and seasonal mods that directly affect these weapon types. And so, let's get started. First off, let's talk about champion mods, because the main activity, the Sundial Activity coming in Season of Dawn, will 100% have champion enemies in it, and you're going to need to be able to deal with those guys. So, of course, we have the selection of anti-barrier rounds, unstoppable rounds, and overload rounds. This season, Anti-Barrier Ranger is its own mod, and it applies to several different gun types. So it can go on bows, scout rifles, and pulse rifles. So what are the best bows, scout rifles, and pulse rifles that are currently available that you should definitely level up and get ready to use going into Season of Dawn? Well, let's start with scout rifles. And right off the bat, I want to discuss the perk Disruption Break. A lot of people are specifically looking for this perk within weapons that are supposed to take down barrier champions. So the perk says, breaking an enemy's shield with this weapon makes them more vulnerable to kinetic damage for a brief period. For example, a scout rifle that can spawn with this is the Cauzella Noblesse from the Crown of Sorrow raid. However, I'm not really going to be recommending a ton of weapons with this perk because I think it is massively overrated for doing what it's supposed to do. Yes, it will give you a 50% damage bonus when you break a barrier champion's shield, but it does absolutely nothing when it comes to helping break the shield in the first place, which is the most important thing. You need to break that shield as fast as possible so the champion doesn't heal, and when you do break the shield, it will go into a kind of broken down state, making it very easy to finish off. I've never had problem finishing off champions once those shields have been broken. It's breaking those shields as fast as possible that should be the priority. And for that, the damage increasing perks like multi-kill clip, if you can engage a shielded champion with multi-kill clip times 2, that's going to be so much better in taking that shield down fast, preventing the healing, getting it into the broken state, and then just switch to your special or heavy to finish that guy off very easily. So Disruption Break I don't think is as good as some people think it is. However, of course, if you do like that playstyle and you want that damage bonus, look for guns with Disruption Break. However, let's talk about the first weapon I want to recommend, and that is the Randy's Throwing Knife. Of course, this is the current Crucible ritual weapon. It's a very fast shooting gun, like it's in the rapid fire archetype, so it's going to get its damage downrange very quickly, great for breaking shields. It has a pretty sizable 19 rounds in the magazine. You can increase that even with a mod if you want to, and it has the combination of rapid hit and kill clip, letting you get that damage bonus from kill clip. Rapid hit, obviously, when it's pumped up to ×5, letting you reload super fast, so you're going to be able to constantly keep that damage bonus up, which is great for engaging all enemies, including breaking those shields. And it comes fully masterworked, which is a big deal. More orb production, more supers for your entire team. Another potential weapon you could use is the Oxygen SR3. This is not as good as the Randy's, but don't mistake Firefly for a bad perk. And the fact that this can make its Firefly perk do even more damage against more powerful enemies is sweet. It's just an all-around decent weapon, comes fully masterworked, really easy to get those masterwork orbs because of that Firefly perk. I would look into it. However, a much better weapon in my opinion, and something you may want to farm for or take out of your vault, is the Night Watch. This comes from Reckoning or Gambit, added in the Season of the Drifter. It gets the benefit of having those insane Season of the Drifter perks. Like this roll I have right here has rapid hit plus multi-kill clip, an absolute wombo combo. This thing with multi-kill clip ×3 is going to be pumping out way more damage than the Randy's with its normal kill clip. And it benefits from being in a pretty fast damage archetype. Not quite as fast as the Randy's, but it's actually going to be in the same damage archetype as the Mida multi-tool. So you can shoot this thing pretty fast, and again, that's going to help you get your damage down range quickly. By the way, this is just one example of a good Night Watch roll. There is so many great perk combinations on this weapon. I would definitely look into getting a good one. Moving on from there, let's talk about pulse rifles. One of the best ones right off the bat is a Vex offensive weapon, the Adhortative. This can get the absolute god roll of Feeding Frenzy, which increases reloads when getting kills, and multi-kill clip. And it's exactly as good as the reasons I went over for the scout rifles with multi-kill clip. This thing is a beast in PvE. Moving on from there, we have the Sacred Providence Raid Pulse Rifle. This can get, I have Outlaw, but it can also get Rapid Hit in the same perk slot, and Kill Clip. Again, letting you keep that damage bonus up all the time. Fantastic weapon. The Blast Furnace can get a very similar role with Feeding Frenzy and Kill Clip if you want to farm for that instead of doing the raid, of course. But a weapon I think is actually going to be pretty good is this style of weapon. I have here the Outlast Pulse Rifle. This is again from Reckoning/Gambit, and it has Outlaw plus Rampage. Now, I have this because, again, like the Scout Rifle with Randy's, it belongs to the Rapid Fire Frame archetype, letting you get those shots off really fast and get that shield down really quickly. As opposed to something like the Sacred Providence, which yes, does much more damage per burst, but the time in between those bursts is pretty delayed. And I think having that really fast shooting option to just get your damage down range and keep constant damage on the target is a good idea. And speaking of which, all of those reasons apply to the fact that I don't think using bows is a good idea for taking down those shields. They just don't get their damage out as quickly as the other weapons we went over. Seriously, the scenario of hitting a barrier champion's shield, taking a chunk away with the bow, going for a follow-up shot and then missing, or an enemy or a teammate walks in front, absorbs that shot, the shield's already going to be regenerating when you go for the third shot. Like, it just doesn't do enough consistent damage. Moving on from there, however, we have a selection of the unstoppable rounds for scout rifles, pulse rifles, and bows. Now, because of how these rounds work, where you aim down sights, then your gun glows with the unstoppable round and you get a shot off and stun the target, everything I said about anti-barrier rounds, the opposite is kind of true for these rounds. You want extremely high damage per shot weapons, so you get enough damage downrange with one shot to stun the enemy. Sometimes when you're doing super high level activities, it kind of seems not to stun if you're using lesser damaging weapons, at least in my experience. So bows are going to be great. The pulse rifles and the scout rifles, you want the ones that do the highest damage per shot for these. Moving on, overload rounds are available for auto rifles, and there's a lot of good options here. I'm going to be whipping out this Galran's right hand from the Crown of Sorrow raid. It has Outlaw plus multi-kill clip, of course, a wombo combo, but a much more accessible weapon that I'm sure a lot of you guys do have is the Braytech Werewolf back from the Festival of the Lost event. This doesn't have like a reload increasing perk, but the curated roll does have multi-kill clip and is definitely very serviceable. Another great weapon is the Reckless Oracle from the Garden raid. You can get Outlaw plus kill clip, but more importantly, this is just one of the fast firing 720 rounds per minute archetype auto rifles, and massive 50 round magazine, just really easy to get constant damage downrange. Another option from a much older raid is the age-old bond from the Last Wish raid. This, the curated roll, can get 4th times the charm, so rapidly landing precision hits return 2 rounds to the magazine, and rampage. So it means that you can just keep your target on an enemy and not have to reload for a ridiculous amount of time. With backup mag, it has 38 rounds in the magazine. Every 4 rounds you get 1 back. So if you're just looking at an overload champion and holding that trigger, you're pretty much going to keep him stunned, let your teammates come in, finish him off, or finish him off yourself. But speaking of constant damage and that entire scenario playing out, potentially even better at doing that is the curated roll for the Gnawing Hunger, again from the Reckoning/Gambit activities. This can get the very unique perk Overflow. Picking up special or heavy ammo reloads the weapon to beyond its normal capacity, and it also comes with Rampage for that damage bonus. So if you walk over just a couple of special ammo boxes on the ground, which remember are much more common thanks to ammo finders, you are going to get 90, 100 rounds in a magazine. It's actually absurd. And of course, keeping an overload champion stunned when you have 100 rounds, as you can imagine, is very easy and effective. So seriously, this is something people should be looking at. Okay, moving on from there, we have the second column of the new seasonal artifact, and this is filled with normal mods, but with massively decreased energy costs. So you can use these mods and put on much more mods than normal in your armor pieces. So we have a rifle, enhanced rifle reloader. This is great in general terms, going to work on auto rifles, scout rifles, pulse rifles, etc. Then we have enhanced unflinching rifle aim. Great for PvP, so if you want to use pulse rifles and scout rifles and stuff in PvP, definitely consider throwing on this. Then we've got some enhanced loaders, firstly for bows, that's pretty general. Then we've got snipers, and the snipers, like, this is the perk that really matters quite a bit. Snipers right now are very in the meta in terms of a damage output strategy and certain damage phases against raid bosses, against very end game activities. Snipers are going to be what you want to use, so this perk in that second column matters the most. What are some great snipers that are going to benefit from this discounted perk? Well, first and foremost, gotta mention the Izanagi's Burden Exotic Sniper Rifle. This has the perk Honed Edge. Basically, you can hold reload, and it's going to load 4 rounds into one super powerful round. And that combined with a Lunafaction Well or something to increase the reload, and of course an enhanced sniper rifle reloader mod, is going to be just the highest sustained damage output you can get in the game currently. So the fact that you have access to this perk right away and it's very discounted is fantastic with the Burden. If you haven't done the exotic quest for it, this is the time, especially since it was bugged for a long time and it's finally fixed. I digress. But if you don't have this weapon or are stuck in the quest and can't get it yet, there are some great other options. So we have the Tranquility. This is a very farmable weapon because it's a moon weapon and it can get 4th times the charm or firing line in the same perk slot. This is going to output a significant amount of damage. The funny thing is that 4th times the charm kind of works in a sense that you don't want to be reloading. You want to extend the time before you actually need to reload as much as possible, but you are going to need to reload eventually, and that mod that we talked about is going to help quite a bit. So the Tranquility, very good weapon. From, again, Gambit and Reckoning, we have the Soul Survivor. This, importantly, can get 4th times the charm and firing line for just insane damage output. Great weapon. And something else I want to mention that is definitely more low-key. I really don't see a lot of people utilizing weapons like this or even knowing how good they are, and that is weapons like this Supremacy. It turns out that the rapid-fire frame sniper rifles with extended mag and triple tap, if you can get it, unfortunately I just have extended mag on this one, deal the most damage the fastest. The only thing that beats these out is the Izanagis. So if you're not using the Izanagis, these archetype of snipers are the next best thing. And because they shoot so fast, they put their damage downrange so fast, you are going to be reloading several times in a damage phase, and that mod really matters when you're using weapons like this. The Supremacy, by the way, is from the Last Wish raid. Moving on from there, the last discounted perk we have is Enhanced Linear Fusion Rifle Targeting, and there are some linear fusion rifles that will benefit greatly from that. If you want to throw on the Sleeper Simulant, for example, this exotic used to be the king of Gambit, but it was nerfed a little bit, and one of the things that was nerfed is its targeting, so the targeting will bring it back up. Same exact story happened for the Queenbreaker. Again, an absolute powerhouse in Gambit until its aim assist and targeting was nerfed a bit, and combining it with that perk will bring it back up to not necessarily like pre-nerf status, but still make it very powerful. Another weapon that I think is very overlooked is the Arbalest Linear Fusion Rifle. This, unlike the other two, is a special weapon, letting you use it so much more often. You don't have to get heavy for it. This will also benefit greatly from that perk. When this first came out, people actually really were doing quite well with it in PvP, and it's since fallen off, but don't mistake how good that targeting can be, especially if you are on something like console. The thing is, all of these different weapons that we went over, sans the auto rifles, also benefit from the only final tier mod that was shown off in the live stream, and that is Guardian Angel. So it grants a chance to generate healing orbs for you on Scout Rifle, Sniper Rifle, Bow, and Linear Fusion Rifle precision final blows. That matters quite a bit, especially in PvE activities. I feel a little bit more than PvP just because there is so many more enemies in PvE and it's so much easier to get consistent final blows and just be reaping the benefits of those healing orbs. So all those weapons we went over, the Arbalist, stuff like the Supremacy, stuff like those Scout Rifles with multi-kill clip, those combined with Guardian Angel is going to be extremely deadly, extremely effective, and extremely good when you're doing stuff like the Sundial and other activities coming up next season. And so guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.